I'm a young teen female, and my brother is a tween. Our dad has been with Carol, 47 female, for nearly 2 years, and they got married in early November. Carol hates us, especially me. She calls me a problem child and always picks at me and is rude. She compares us to her daughters, constantly picks fights, and tries to parent my brother and me. She yells and calls us names when we have to go over. If one of her daughters does something to us, like taking our stuff, she just brushes it off and laughs, and our dad lets it happen. We have no choice but to see him 4 times a month because of his and our mom's court agreement, but we hate it there and we hate Carol, so we didn't go to their wedding, even though Dad was super angry and fought with us for 2 months after we told him we weren't going. So we skipped the wedding. Last Sunday, he picked us up and drove us to his house. I noticed they were in a better mood than they have been lately. Carol was blabbing at us about their honeymoon in Florida. When we got to the house, Dad announced that they had something to show us and for us to go sit in the living room while he got it. My brother and I went and sat down, but we both had a bad feeling. The girls were nowhere around, which was weird. Carol came to sit on the other couch, and she was just staring at us, looking like she had won something. And my dad comes in with a Blu-ray disc and puts it into the player and sits with Carol. And Carol says in this happy, witchy voice, "This is since the 2 of you missed it, so you can see what you missed." It started playing and we realized it was a video of their wedding day. A few seconds in, it was edited to a clip of them saying "I do" and kissing. My brother saw this and started to cry, and I just got so mad. We hate Carol, so that's why we didn't go in the first place. She wasn't going to force us to look at it now. So I grabbed my brother's hand, pulled him off the couch, and said we weren't going to watch this. Carol sneered and said we had no choice. I told her she'd never be in charge of us, no matter how much she wished she was, and told my dad we were leaving. I admit I shouted this part. She told me to stop being a little witch, and I shouted back that she was a big fat witch who should know better. Rude, I know. She shouted at my dad, "Are you just going to let her talk to me like that?" And Dad just kind of laughed and said he wasn't dealing with this and went to his room and locked the door. I took my brother to get his stuff on, grabbed my bag, and left, with Carol screaming at me most of that time. I don't know most of what she was saying. It was too loud and screamy. I started walking with my brother down the side of the road and called Mom on my cell to come get us. We walked for about 10 minutes before she met us on the road. Dad is mad at me. Carol is angry, but I don't care. Mom is upset, only because she thinks I shouldn't have walked my brother along the road. If I'm the idiot, it's all right. She's never liked us, barely tried to get to know us, and lets her kids do whatever they want to us. She makes fun of my body too, which is why I finally snapped and called her fat. She ripped a piece of pizza from my hands because she said I was greedy when she had 3 chins. Am I the idiot for how I responded to my dad and stepmom? Not the idiot. What a disgusting power play. She knew it would be painful for you and was reveling in the feeling that she was in a position to force you. Your dad doesn't have to marry someone you like, but in my opinion, as a father, he is required to be a parent and defend you against crap like this, and to most certainly not participate in it. Bullying and verbal abuse are abuse. You and your brother don't have to take it. I'm sorry you're put in this horrible position time and time again. And yes, it's bizarre for someone to try and make you watch their wedding video. You could have asked for popcorn and criticized every aspect of the wedding. Love this. OMG, you wore that? Wow, what an interesting dress choice. I'm sure the discount made up for its general ugliness. Why does your hair look so stringy? I would sue. Did that cake come from Walmart? It looks really dry. Did Dad just wink at that other lady? She's so pretty. OP, talk to your mom and ask her to get the custody arrangement changed. Sweetheart, you need proof she's doing this to you. Don't egg her on, but always keep your phone charged and recording. Next time she gets unreasonably upset, record it and take it to your mom, who can then take it to the judge for full custody. You're getting to an age where the courts may actually consider your opinion regarding where you spend your time. Can we also applaud OP for not only sticking up for herself, which is scary enough, but also her little brother? You're an awesome sister. Keep it up. Your mother's clearly the one raising you well. Carol is toxic, and she, a grown adult, was calling you a little witch? So wrong on so many levels. My husband and I have 3 children: Ethan, teen male; Barbara, teen female; and John, tween male. Public schooling in my country is terrible, so my husband and I, despite being lower middle class, do our best to pay for private school for all of our children, but we cannot pay in full without weighing in the pocket, so we strongly encourage our children to take a scholarship test. Ethan got 70%, Barbara 40%, and John took the exam this year and got 20% off of his tuition. It is worth noting that tuition increases from year to year. For example, we pay $900 for Barbara's school, while for John, $500, not counting the discount. But the discount has a condition. You cannot take the final exam at the end of the year, otherwise you lose it. Barb has always struggled with one subject, so we managed to put private lessons to help, but she ended up forgetting to turn in 2 projects. Just forgot. At the end of the year, that constituted 30% of the grade, and she did poorly on the test. So she went to the final exam and consequently missed the discount. She took the scholarship test, but didn't get such a discount, 15%. We talked to her. We said that we wouldn't be able to pay for their school tuition because it's too high, and we also must pay for school materials also. She started saying that John would go to school and thought it was unfair that she had to leave a school that she had been there for 4 years and that she had friends there. In addition to her being at an age that's important for college, and that it's not fair for us to pay for school for John, who has almost the same discount as her, and not for her. We tried to explain by saying that John's discount is low, but his tuition is less than hers, so these are different situations. Besides, he can retake the exam for a bigger discount next year, but she could also try next year for a better discount. But we couldn't afford hers at the moment because she lost that discount because she forgot to send projects. It's a tense situation, as she says that we're playing favoritism among the children and undermining her in the most important school years. By the way, the school is one of the cheapest, and it's really good. She didn't want to do another scholarship test. Am I the idiot? Edit. Final exam. When the person's 4 bi-monthly grades of the year give a grade lower than the average, the student takes a final test of the subject to pass the year. You are the idiot. If you can't afford private school without a discount, then you can't afford private school. What did you expect to happen? So your daughter would be happy to go to a public school because her parents banked on her getting a discount rather than being realistic about what they could afford? To top it off, you're still sending her 2 siblings to the school. So let me get this straight. You got private lessons to help Barb in school, and Barb still messed up multiple school assignments, did badly on another test, and now refuses to take another scholarship test, and is complaining that her brothers aren't being punished for the consequences of her actions? That's not favoritism. If anything, it would be favoritism if you did punish your sons. It's not their fault their sister forgot to hand in multiple school assignments and did poorly on a test, even after private tutoring. They don't deserve to be punished for her actions, and your daughter's acting entitled. You are not the idiot. Many people think that mid-teens is too young to be responsible for her schoolwork, and the parents are at fault for the daughter's failure. When they forget, it generally just means they didn't care enough in their brains to think it's important. It goes to show what the daughter prioritizes. She screwed herself up by not turning in her assignments. But unfortunately, actions have consequences, and the consequences of her actions are that she doesn't get what she wants. My husband's friend passed away months ago, leaving behind his wife. My husband considered him a brother, so he began offering help to his widow and showing up literally every weekend when he's off work to help her with everything. It didn't bother me. Not much, but still. Now he told me that it'd be nice if we invited her to Christmas dinner with us, since she has no family and other friends are busy. I refused, but he insisted, saying it would mean so much to her. especially since this was her first Christmas without her husband, and we should comfort her. I refused and said it was supposed to be a family celebration, and my family would show up, so there were plenty of guests already, but he said she was the one who needed this family atmosphere the most. I snapped and firmly told him I would not agree to let him invite her to Christmas dinner with us, and he needed to drop it because it made me uncomfortable. He argued and then started sulking about it, saying that I was being cruel for no reason and that he wasn't asking for much, just an extra chair or plate for her. But I said it would be awkward for my family and me, especially since we're not so close. Am I the idiot? OP, have you clearly communicated to your husband how much you deeply resent him spending time with this woman? Because that seems to be the bigger issue here. Yeah, we get it. You're jealous. And that's a conversation to have with your husband, that he needs to remember that he's married to you and that, yes, it's sad that her husband died, but that doesn't mean that he needs to be there for the widow all of the time. I really don't think spending a few weekends with someone who just lost their husband is like an excessive thing. My wife moved in with her best friend for a week after she got divorced, and I'm glad she did, because having friends and being there for your friends is normal and should be celebrated. And remember, your husband is grieving too. A best friend is different than your late husband's best friend. Visiting for an hour or two each weekend, but spending the entire weekend is weird. Does the widow not have a support system outside of OP's hubby? It obviously does bother her, but OP feels like she shouldn't be bothered. Is it because she's prone to jealousy but wants to be rational? Or is it because there are red flags that she's trying to ignore? OP isn't sure which. It sounds like your husband's just trying to be a shoulder for his friend's widow to cry on. If you think something shady is happening, not inviting her to Christmas doesn't fix anything. You are the idiot, OP, for not expressing your concerns and not being more understanding. Put yourself in her shoes. What if your husband passed away and you needed that level of comfort from his best friend? You should go with him on weekends and help with making her some freezer meals, cleaning a few things, or being a female support person for her. Even the little things can take a lot of stress off of someone. My teen female dad is a piece of crap. I'm sorry, but he just is. He isn't all that terrible to me or my brother, nearly adult, but he's horrible to our mom. Growing up, it was very obvious that our dad saw our mom as lesser than. He'd yell at her over everything and make her responsible for everything, cleaning, taking care of us, etc. My mom never said anything and tried her hardest to make it seem like everything was okay. I'm ashamed to admit it, but I'm too scared to stand up to my dad. I always freeze. My brother, on the other hand, does not give a crap. He yells back and isn't afraid of anything. I think my brother realized that I'm too scared to protect our mom and recently told us that he's going to college nearby and will be commuting, as the college doesn't require first years to live on campus. My parents were confused, and my dad was a little upset. He kept telling him that he would miss out and regret it, but my brother didn't budge. Mom even told him he should go and that she would be fine, but my brother said they're lucky he's even going to college. Well, yesterday, we got a surprise visit from our grandma, Dad's mom. She never visits, and when she does, she treats my mom like crap too, so we weren't very excited. But we were civil because, well, if we aren't, she'll find a way to blame our mom. It was okay at first, but then she asked my mom, "Is this what you wanted? Are you proud of yourself?" My mom started to shake, but my brother immediately got in between them. Grandma just rolled her eyes and asked my brother if he was going to throw his life away just because he thought his mom's too fragile to survive without him. My brother didn't say anything. I then spoke up and said, "It's not because of Mom. It's because of you and Dad. You guys are horrible, and you really need to get the heck out." My grandma immediately started yelling at me. She said she expected better and said I was rude, disrespectful, and bratty. She then told my mom that she had raised horrible kids before leaving angrily. I know I was just standing up for my mom, and my brother keeps telling me I'm fine, but I feel guilty. According to my dad, my grandma apparently adores me, and I broke her heart. And it's not like I made things better, maybe even worse. My dad's expecting me to apologize, but I don't know. I don't want to. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your dad is just manipulating you by saying you broke her heart. Doesn't sound like she has one to break anyway. OP's mom raised good kids. Grandma raised a brat, but she's a brat too. Yeah, seems like the father inherited that lack of heart as well. For real. My grandma apparently adores me, according to my dad. Really? Because she just called you rude, disrespectful, and bratty, and said you were a horrible kid. I know it's awful to finally see her for who she truly is, but she only liked you because you didn't stand up to her or your dad and let them walk all over you. The moment you spoke up against them, they both turned on you. That's what abusers do. Exactly. I'm 34, and I've had a grandma who adores me all my life. She's 94 now. You know what a grandma who adores you does? Gives cookies and money when your parents aren't watching, tells embarrassing stories about your parents, and plays games with you. Have you spoken to a trusted adult or therapist about some things happening at home? Neither you nor your brother should feel like it's your job to protect your mother. I'm a 21-year-old female. My sister has been friends with Cleo since they were children. I've known Cleo my entire life. For the past 5 years, I looked after my sister's and Cleo's children at minimum 3 days a week. I'll do a school run, etc. I recently became single, so bills and looking after my child, one, means I have to look seriously at what I'm earning. Since Cleo and my sister are family, they'd sometimes not pay me or not pay me on time. I've never had a serious job outside of childminding for Cleo and my sister, so I put Cleo down as a reference after asking. She said yes to me, then refused when she got called, which is as bad as a bad referral. After 5 years, I'd expect more. My sister is 100% on Cleo's side, saying Cleo has offered to pay me more and needs my help still. They went to drop the children off, but I'm adamant against babysitting. My mom says it's an idiot move because I technically didn't give notice. Can be upset with Cleo, but my sister didn't do anything wrong and had no notice. My sister won't let me see her children anymore. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Oh, it's obvious what type of game Cleo is playing. She's trying to sabotage you so you cannot get a job because then she'll lose her underpaid babysitter. She isn't your friend, OP. Don't babysit for her ever again. This includes your sister since she's in on the plan also. You worked for Cleo and your sister for 5 years, and they would sometimes not pay you because they're family. Unless they reciprocate, the family line is an excuse to take advantage of you. And what Cleo did to you was despicable. Not content with just declining your request for a reference, she lied to you that she'd give you one just so she could deliberately sabotage your application when the prospective employer called her. And there's something very wrong with your sister if she takes Cleo's side after that. No matter whether a person is family, if they refuse to stop treating you like dirt, sometimes the best thing to do for your own well-being is to cut them out of your life. OP, contact the job who reached out to Cleo to explain. Reference checks are highly problematic because things like Cleo's refusal are super common. If this is a job you want, OP, it's worth attempting to explain to the employer.